today's webinar, which is on Salesforce and ChatGPT. Right. Today we will explore how we can integrate Salesforce and ChatGPT to enhance the business operations by automating workflows, scaling processes, and personalizing customer interactions. Okay. So now
I'll give you a quick introduction. Hi everyone, I'm Arun Sharma. So I basically take care of operations at Codelios, and like Gaurav mentioned, so we'll be talking more about how to integrate Salesforce and ChatGPT to different use cases. As we progress, Gaurav will take us through some of the use cases that we have created for the customers, and how we have integrated it, what it is doing currently for them, and further that we'll take questions from you if you have questions related to how of it and what of it. We are more than happy to answer.
So let's start. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what are the benefits of integrating ChatGPT with Salesforce. So what are the features through which we can improve our business efficiencies? If you can see, we can automate tasks and improve efficiency, scalability, and enhance sales assistant. How we can automate tasks? We can automate tasks by scheduling appointments, creating opportunities, by giving 24/7 customer support with the help of ChatGPT, and sending personalized email itself with the help of ChatGPT.
So basically, I think one of the biggest question that AI has popped up in our human minds is that how much can we automate and how much can we remove the people dependency or human intervention, and how can we bring efficiency. So I think we primarily, these four areas is where AI is helping us, generative AI is helping us, where we can automate, and that in turn helps us improve the efficiency of systems, of processes, of operations that we run day in day out. And if something that I automate today is which was done by 20 people with the kind of man hours I was investing, I can scale it, the similar stuff, by removing 80% dependency on the manpower. So that's called scalability. And in turn, I mean, sales, service, whatever assistance is, so it works as an assistance to you. So I think one of the very big question, Gaurav, that people might be having, or we really need to answer is that I think a biggest scare of the industry is that would generative AI be taking jobs of people? So this answer is still very I mean, it's very unknown to everybody yet. But I think all we need to do is understand how we can integrate. So one is that we need to know how to use it to our benefit, and the other is that know how to integrate it in our day in day out to bring in those efficiencies and scale the system and bring profitability to the organization at an org level. So yeah, I think that's pretty much are the benefits right now. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so let's talk about the user scenarios, Gaurav, and it is more related to what the bits and pieces that we have done while integrating Salesforce, different org, service org, sales org with ChatGPT for different client use cases. Gaurav, can you give a little scanner as to what we have done?
Yep. So what we can do, we can create a personalized chatbot with the help of the integration of ChatGPT, which will give the answer according to the customer needs, and by finding the what they are searching, and they will give the personalized answer according to that. Okay, and what we can do, we can schedule the automatic meetings. Okay, so we have to schedule the meeting after 7 days. It will automatically schedule your meetings, automated data entry and updation, and it will give voice assistance for sales team.
So in particular, I think when it comes to lead generation, I mean, today how AI is helping and how we help our customers is that um, when there's an interaction happening on the website, or on in the system itself, I think the human intervention is needed less. So what happens is that the lead that has been captured in the sales org, the AI itself identifies it, if it is, and there are certain qualification tick marks that we have integrated. So what happens is a lead generated is created into opportunity, and then the qualifications come into the place. So those tick marks are being ticked by the AI itself, and then it is passed on to the salesperson to further talk to the customer. And not really that, I mean, while these steps were necessary, but that manual intervention has been removed, and we did that for our clients, where we use the chat GPT as one of the identifier of these leads into opportunity, and then passed on to sales team. That's one of the biggest use case. The other is chatbot for customer support. I mean nobody is unaware of this specific use case, because we've been using it on website as chatbot, but now AI has a capability of synchronizing and asynchronizing text as well. So what happens is that let's suppose and it's specifically in service scenario, and I'm taking an example. Today, when there is a user that comes on the website, I don't really have to have a human sitting on the other side of the table answering the queries. And it has been done in the historical environment by people. But now what happens is, even if I want to know the status of a ticket that has been raised, and what has been done, GPT can certainly get those messages, and tell my the status of ticket and the work that has been done, because that those interaction can be picked from my data, and can be thrown to the customers. And similarly, there are certain knowledge base that has been required even before the customer raises a query and facing an issue. I mean, we can certainly give that knowledge base directly through the chatbots. Or do you want to add something?
No, so I think we are good here. Now let's move to the use cases.
Sure.
So these are some utilities of integrating ChatGPT with Salesforce. Like as you see, some are like content generation. Like we can give input and they will generate the content according to our needs. And this will like how we will train the ChatGPT. They will give the answers according to that.
Right. So, I mean, and then in specific scenario of Salesforce, let's suppose you want to use it for service, and you want to generate certain templates. You don't really have to have, generated templates set up in the Salesforce org. You can use GPT as generating the dynamic content for you right when the customer query comes in, and use it to your purpose. So it's similarly, if you want to generate, I'm going to more towards Salesforce utilities, because obviously we are talking more how we married both the systems. But at the same time, content generation, and it's just, we are very much aware of that. We've been using day in day out, even when I write an email today, and and probably my English is all right, I believe so. But at the same time, I really go back and just copy paste the same stuff to validate if I've made certain exam error, which is more like proofreading. Some people just use it just to check their grammars, sentences, vocabulary, what have you. And then generating a lot of these PPTs and reports. GPT has really helped us. The generative has really helped us. Then comes the prompt enhancement. So I mean, obviously, I like I mentioned, when you write an email, for example, I say X, there is certain relevancy that email missed. I mean, that the generative I missed in. So you keep on pushing prompts again and again, so that it betters your responses. For example, I say I want to create X company policy. On for example, on expense reimbursement, it will give me very generic text. But when I keep giving scenarios back and forth and keep giving prompts that somebody with 500 rupees expense should go to the manager level approval, and 1,000 rupees should go to the senior manager level approval, then it will create that content accordingly. So these prompts are really necessary to enhance the responses. Gaurav, you want to add something?
Yeah, so we will like generate the training and onboarding materials. So with the help of ChatGPT, we can generate training materials for onboarding new staff, extracting insights from the Salesforce data itself, as we have integrated the ChatGPT.
Right.
Now,
The chat conversations, completions, audios, etc. I mean, we are very pretty much aware of that. And in case, I mean, before even we go further, I know this is more like generic stuff that we spoke about. But if you have questions so far, we are happy to take them right now and have a pause of like quick 5 seconds. Okay, Ankit has a question. Salesforce gives 100% security of data, but using ChatGPT can be the leakage of data. Well, Ankit, I think the answer is that not really. Because there are certain connectors that really help us, and there are SSOs, and the way you use the login at the backend itself. When ChatGPT provides its API, those are secured as well, and not really that it is an open forum for everyone, because I mean, you integrating your data with chat gpt doesn't mean the data is going out to chat gpt. It will remain within your system, and it will remain in the large language model that you've created, and give you the responses.
So even Salesforce has launched its beta version of Einstein ChatGPT.
Yeah, and Salesforce has a co-pilot as well, which is there, and which is again a replacement of GPT. But since we're talking about GPT, is why I'm saying that it's pretty safe to put in your data. Don't worry, GPT wouldn't use that data and train its generic model for people for people to get their answers. Any more questions? I think we can move to the next slide then.
Sure.
Well, this is really interesting, and I think we can give you very specific information of what use cases that we have worked upon. So, Gaurav.
Yep. So first use case is this for the healthcare industry. In this, so what we have done, like we have smoothing the patient onboarding. So by guiding patient through the onboarding process, ChatGPT can streamline care coordinations, right, and providing 24 into support and assistance by answering the FAQs and sending appointment reminders. Correct. And now we can also use in the billing and claims. ChatGPT can help manage patient billing and claims by providing real-time assistance and resolving payment queries.
Right. So basically, the interactions have become really, intuitive when ChatGPT is there, because there's data that has been the backbone and giving information and been trained to give the responses. So the assistance is pretty personal. I mean, I don't want somebody to sit at 3 a.m. in the morning and replying to the customer, but at the same time, the patient really is in need, and they want response at any given hour, because this is a very very important hour for them, and they must be in pain, so they get assistance what is needed. Then there are personalized interaction. Obviously, it doesn't feel like that when you're talking to a bot or an AI vis-a-vis a human being. And if you want appointment, versus even if there's an emergency that you want an appointment for, or you want to get an emergency contact details, they can certainly give you that, or connect you to the right people, is what the kind of use cases that we've done. So I mean, this really is, then comes the automated billing reminders, for example. I mean, I don't really want to bother my finance team to just doing, I mean, consolidating every month, every week, the reports, and sending billing reminders to the customer, and the claim settlement as well. There's a lot of back and forth. So although all that data can be automated, and this information can be automated and given to the people through generative AI, and that really helps overall, making this, I mean, it really brings in a lot of efficiency to the system, and in fact helps a patient onboarding pretty smoother.
So our second use case is for the financial services, like for the portfolio management through ChatGPT. So we can give personalized investment advice, helping clients explore different financial scenarios, and by streamlining the compliancing and reporting. So ChatGPT can generate compliance reports and assist client with compliance related inquiries if they have, right.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of one of the use cases. So for portfolio specifically, or for investment for that matter. So when there's I mean, like my investment manager, is sitting, and portfolio manager sitting and seeing that and looking some data for their clients, that which investment or which investing organization has given good return. So what happens is they go to the system, they check the information around it, that and the data is pertaining to a specific org and not really the data of a generic data I'm talking about, because this is Salesforce in relevance to generative AI or ChatGPT. So it gives you that data, stating, okay, if today I want to invest X fund for my X client into, and they are looking for a growth of X 10 to 15%. So please show me how many investment portfolios have given that kind of in return in past 2 years or 5 years. That data is generated. It made my life simpler. I don't really have to go to the reports and fetch it for myself, but that comes really handy. And the person can really give that information and be quicker in the responses. So it really helps manage the portfolio better, helps client get the information when it is needed. And in fact, client themselves at times can use it if it has been exposed to them. I mean, you don't really need an investment manager to sit in between. So, and it has been complied, the data is I mean, it's been looked through, and it is part of your reports that has been published. So it is all, if you want to publish it to the client, then you can certainly go ahead and give it to the clients as well. So yeah, that was really interesting use case that we did for one of our clients, and we did POC on that. Go on, Gaurav.
Okay, yes. So
Yeah. I mean, so far, any questions? We'll take a pause for another few seconds. I'm sure there must be questions popping up. Can you open the Q&A screen?
yep. So there's no question.
Questions, anybody?
No questions.
Okay, not an issue. Let's wait for another few seconds.
Yep.
Right, okay. All right, since there are no questions, let's move to the next use case, which is more towards the high tech industry. Gaurav, would you like to take this?
Yep. So in the high tech industry, for the high tech industry, what we can do, we can optimize marketing campaigns by analyzing customer interactions and conversation rate and engagement, right? And we can also retain the customer, like customer retention, as chat gpt enables proactive engagement and automate customers follows, which lead to improve customer retentions,
Right.
right?
So I think that high tech is pretty much prevalent in two, and I would refer to this as two in a two direction. One is B2B, the other is B2C. So when I talk about the business use case, what happens, what typically has happened is, for example, you have your project timelines, for example, Jira, and you have your timelines, and your team doesn't log. I mean, nobody wants to log the system. They just want one view. They do that because that has been told to them. But what if they get information every morning that your task is due, please fill in your information, or please log your time, please log your comments, and that kind of interactions. I mean, we're not fully achieved it, but we have achieved it to some extent internally for our internal or project management. And that really helps us I mean, improve the B2B, optimize the B2B environment better, versus when it comes to customer delivery. So when customer has a question, they don't really have to call anybody, or or send an email. They just can get to the portal and simply say, okay, what is the status of my X ticket? And you can get the response based on the activities that has been logged, that it is in WIP, or they say, okay, what progress that has been made. So you'll get to know that the progress X is made so far as per the work logs. And by this, your expected expected turnaround time is Y date. So I think this is really relevant for B2B and B2C, and we sit in between and in service industry and do that. So high tech, it really helped us, into that extent, to optimize the entire delivery structure, and how we make customer experience better. And it gives you insight as to what customer are the issues that customers are facing all the more. The trending, that what is it that you need to improve in your product or in your services. For example, your X feature isn't being used for a while. you can see all of those and say, okay, why is that, I'm not getting certain, and why is that my, for example, scheduling appointment feature has not been used. I mean, you do not have anybody in the field is why, so nobody's scheduling appointments, or you don't have the relevancy of that specific feature. So you can see all, you can just simply put in those prompts and get information around it. Got
Yes.
anything from your side?
No.
Okay.
So next use case is for our educations.
Yeah.
Yep. So what we can do, we can do the alumni engagement. So in that, it tracks the alumni interactions and update them about the events and help with donation opportunity itself. Like, and also it will support the student by giving assistant in enrolling for different programs, advising different courses, and giving informations. And we can easily track the activity of the student by using ChatGPT.
Right, and to quote an example here, I mean, there is a portal that has been created for one of our client, which is for the student. So now student can see the status of, and they don't necessarily have to, and I mean they have to really log in and give their login information, because they want relevant data, as to what is the progress, what are the kind of marks that they have, if there are placements being attached to a course, they can get that, okay, I can get extra X kind of placement, or my placement status is this. So I mean there's a lot more than that you can do. And on the other side, that donation opportunities, so the donors can come and use this portal, as what are the donation opportunities that you have, the programs that different alumni are running, and where how I can invest and do the CSR activities. And all of this can very well be tracked, and you don't necessarily have to toggle around the screens. You just have the GPT or generative AI being involved as a front end. You ask a question, you give a prompt, and it is trained to give you these relevant answers. So yeah, I mean that is how it has been helping our clients. And it has been really interesting, because it has saved a lot of their time, because student generally doesn't want to log into a portal and come. But we all are so chat friendly nowadays. I mean, we don't really necessarily call anyone, we just chat on WhatsApps, really, if it is not relevant. I mean, our talk times have really gone low since past few years, since the chat came into the play, and these bots are really helping us get that efficiency. And actually they are exploiting in a way the human behavior, so that we can, I mean, it is relevant for relevant to everybody. It is simple to use, and it is really, I mean, this is our day in a life. I mean, I got up and I check my WhatsApp. Similarly, I can just go, because I have a student portal, I'm logged in, I can just check anything. I don't really have to say, okay, I have to see which course, how many months, what's the fee, etc., etc., etc. But versus just put the information and get the right prompts and then get the right information. Yeah. So that's how it has been using our clients.
Okay, so when I have any questions, so we will have 2
So is
minutes.
it the okay question, guys? Okay. So I think there's a question that has come from one of the attendees, that what is the difference between Einstein versus Chat GPT. I'll take that question, Gaurav. So so what has really happened is that I mean, there's necessarily because we have used in Einstein GPT for clients, we have used Chat GPT. Today's session is more about how we integrated Chat GPT with Salesforce, rather than Einstein GPT lives within Salesforce. It is a generative AI which is created by Salesforce. So we just have to I mean, just activate it and start using it, and then start training your data, training your model to give you the right information. Versus chat DBTs, you can use the APIs and integrate it, although they might, at the face value, it might both work similar. So that it is just the name of the product that has been different. But since we're talking about ChatGPT, is why we had a reference of that today. More questions? Okay,
Oh,
I think there is Kusuma Bhavani chat. Okay, that's no, no. Okay, I thought there's a question. Sorry.
no.
Okay, let's go on, Gaurav.
Okay, so let's move to the conclusion. Here are some screens. You can see how we have integrated the chat GPT for the predictive analysis. If you can see on the right hand side, so these are the analysis which is automatically given by the chat GPT.
This is content
Yep.
generation. And we came to the end of the session. So I think we'll take a pause here, and we're open to questions at least for another few minutes if there are. You know, so let's just wait for the attendees. If they have any questions, we are happy to answer. Guys, you can type down your questions at the Q&A box. Ankit, that's a great question, but sorry, we have data security for our clients. So the screens that we've shown you are some of our work, but that is really indicative of what we have done. We can't really share client work here because that's not what I mean. We can't because it is we have it is all it was clients data security. Question, guys? Any more questions? It's 4.0, Ankit. That gives you the correct APIs. That's what we have used. Okay, so to wrap up the session, I guess the closing note is, since we don't have any questions, so I think it is really relevant to the industry. And while there is an Einstein GPT and there is Chat GPT, so generative AI works in similar fashion for both. It's just that how you train the model, the data is pretty secured, because if you are buying, if you are using the paid version of GPT and APIs, it doesn't really consume your data and give it to a third party. They don't really sell that. Similarly, if it remains in Salesforce, they're ensuring that your rate data is secured. So from data perspective, so I think the efficiencies that you can bring into your operations about 80%, depending upon how well you merge your processes with generative AI and how you think it through, and relevantly how you put it to use. And trust me, your people would love it. I mean, and not really that they would see it as a threat. Then they're going to use the job, because somebody has to use the system. I mean, they do it require prompts. So yeah, it is a really relevant, very important piece. And I think as we go on from here, we'll see a lot of other enhancements in generative AI. People have reached out to a point where the coding has already been started, software has been created, websites have been created, then creatives are being generated. So I mean, a lot of use cases are happening around the world. Just that how fast we move it, how fast we bring it to our use. And yeah, and I think it really works well. So that's the closing note. Anything from your side, Gaurav?
So no, so thank you all for joining this. So I
Thanks a
think we
lot.
can
I
wrap up
think
the.
since there are no questions, so we are ending the session early. But thanks a lot.